The Epstein class wants you to believe that they care about kids' mental health and well being, and all it's going to cost you is your anonymity and access to information on the internet. Let me expand. The people that committed all the atrocities that we've seen in the files, and the people that committed the bipartisan effort of cover up at every level of government over the last few decades, are trying to convince you they're really worried about the mental health of kids if they access certain information on the internet. And so, to prevent that problem that they really care about, all you need to do is give up your right to privacy and anonymity and potentially encourage social media networks to censor out information. But don't worry, this is done for the benefit of kids. Let's talk about KOSA, what it is, why it's terrible, and what you can do about it. KOSA is the Kids Online Safety Act. It is legislation that was designed so that the government can put pressure on social media companies to make sure that harmful information is not accessible to children. The problem with KOSA, like a lot of legislation, is that it is very broad and vague and lacks any real sort of definitions. For example, things like harm and also the sources that prove harm as medical institutions aren't properly defined, which leads some people to be worried that certain governments could maybe use it to just censor information off the internet like transgender issues. And it's pretty well founded, that worry, because here's Senator Marsha Blackburn, one of the original co-sponsors.
Of course, protecting minor children from the transgender and this culture and that influence. And I would add to that, watching what's happening on social media. And I've got the Kids Online Safety Act that I think we're going to end up getting through.
And here's the Heritage Foundation. You know, the people that wrote Project 2025, they're big fans. You'd think that the Heritage Foundations being big fans would be enough to get any Democrats to stay away from it, but there's been 35 senators in the US, plus all the ones in the House, that have been co-sponsors of it, including former VP candidate Senator Tim Kaine, Senator Elizabeth Warren, and in case liberals haven't figured it out yet, fucking John Fetterman. Hundreds of advocacy groups have said that KOSA is a huge problem, both to free speech from people like the ACLU, to, of course, the suppression of any amount of queer content from plenty of advocacy groups around the LGBTQIA community. If passed, KOSA would encourage social media companies to algorithmically squash information on queer issues more than they already do, and also on issues on like race and abortion access. It would also require us adult users to give up our identification to these companies, which is already unsafe and just trains Palantir AI. The good news, it hasn't passed yet, so call your senators and call your House members and tell them to stop KOSA. And for more information and some scripts to help you, you can go to stopkosa.com. The internet is the most powerful organizing tool there is, which is why they want to help censor it. Don't let them do it.